I stared at my laptop screen, watching the transactions rolling like digital daggers to my heart. The Four Seasons Maldives Atlanta Jaravaru, $40,000. First class Emirates flights, $25,000. Designer wedding dress, $15,000. Premium wedding venue, $30,000. Catering and decorations, $10,000. The numbers kept climbing, each charge hitting my business account like a personal betrayal. At 32, I had built Innovate Tech Solutions from the ground up, turning my software development skills into a successful consulting firm with 15 employees. My parents had always favored my younger sister, Madison, but I never thought they'd stoop to financial sabotage. "Sarah, we need to talk about the Johnson contract payment," Maya, my CFO, said from the doorway. Her expression told me everything I needed to know. "We don't have enough to cover payroll next week." I minimized the banking window showing my sister's honeymoon charges. "How bad?" "If these unauthorized charges continue, we'll be insolvent within 2 weeks." 3 months ago, I had made the mistake of adding my parents as authorized users on my business credit card. They were supposed to help manage company purchases while I recovered from surgery. Instead, they turned it into Madison's wedding slush fund. "Have you tried talking to them?" Maya asked, though she already knew the answer. "Dad said, and I quote, 'Madison deserves her dream wedding, and you're being selfish with your success.' Family helps family." I laughed bitterly. Apparently, family helps family by destroying their daughter's business. My phone buzzed with another notification. Madison had just checked into her honeymoon suite, charging another $2,000 for the romantic welcome package. "What are you going to do?" Maya's voice was gentle but urgent. 15 families were depending on their paychecks. I opened my desk drawer and pulled out a folder labeled Evidence. Inside were screenshots of every unauthorized charge, copies of texts and emails where my parents dismissed my concerns, and a letter from my lawyer confirming these were fraudulent transactions. "I'm going to save my company," I said, picking up my phone, "and teach them all a lesson about consequences." The call to the credit card company took exactly 12 minutes. I'd rehearsed it dozens of times. "Yes, I need to report fraudulent activity and freeze all additional user cards. Yes, I understand this will prevent further charges. No, I don't want to discuss this with the additional users first. Yes, I have documentation of the unauthorized transactions." Maya watched as I completed the process, her relief visible. "When will they find out?" I checked the time. Madison and her new husband should be heading to their first honeymoon dinner right about now. Their cards will decline at the restaurant. "And your parents?" "They're probably still at the wedding venue settling final payments." I allowed myself a small smile. "Those cards won't work either." My phone immediately began buzzing. Mom, Dad, Madison. I sent them all to voicemail and opened my email instead, sending out the mass communication I had prepared. Subject: Company Update, Financial Integrity and Payroll Security. Dear Innovate Tech Solutions team, I want to address the recent financial situation transparently. Unauthorized charges to our business account have been identified and stopped. All scheduled payroll will be processed as normal. Your jobs in our company are secure. Thank you for your continued dedication. Sarah Mitchell, CEO, Innovate Tech Solutions. The first voicemail came from Madison, her voice shrill with panic. "Sarah, what the hell? Our cards just declined at ITHA. We're at the underwater restaurant and they're saying the cards are frozen. Call me back immediately." The second was from Mom. "Sarah Elizabeth Mitchell, how dare you embarrass your sister like this? After everything we've done for you." Dad's message was more threatening. "You unfreeze those cards right now, young lady, or there will be serious consequences." I played them for Maya, who had become more than a CFO over the years. She was my closest friend and voice of reason. "What exactly have they done for you?" she asked, referring to Mom's message. "Besides nearly bankrupt your company." "Reminded me why I moved across the country and built my own life," I replied, opening my email again to send another carefully crafted message, this time to my family. Subject: Notice of fraudulent activity. Mom, Dad, and Madison. By now you've discovered the cards have been frozen. This is not a mistake or technical error. I have reported all charges related to Madison's wedding and honeymoon as fraudulent, which they are. Here are the facts. You charged $120,000 to my business account without authorization. These charges put my company and my employees' livelihoods at risk. When confronted, you dismiss my concerns and continued spending. All charges have been documented and reported to the proper authorities. I have already frozen all cards, reported the fraud, initiated chargeback proceedings, retained legal counsel. Your options are: repay all unauthorized charges within 30 days, face legal consequences for credit card fraud. Family helps family. Show me you mean it by making this right. Sarah. The response was immediate and explosive. Madison. You are ruining my honeymoon. I'm a student in T8 Mal Dives. Mom, how could you do this to your own sister? Dad, you've gone too far. We're coming to your office tomorrow. I forwarded the threats to my lawyer and building security, then turned to Maya. Ready for phase 2. She nodded, pulling out her own folder. Inside were contingency plans we had developed when we first noticed the unauthorized spending, new bank accounts, revised security protocols, and documentation of every attempt we'd made to resolve this amicably. The board meeting is in an hour, she reminded me. They'll want to know how we're handling this. The board, consisting of myself, Maya, and 3 trusted advisors, had been briefed last week. They unanimously supported my decision to take legal action, recognizing the threat to our stability. My phone buzzed again. A text from Madison's new husband, James. Your sister is crying in our suite. The hotel is threatening to kick us out. Is this really how you want to handle family matters? I replied with a screenshot of my company's bank account, showing the dangerously low balance and pending payroll obligations. Is this how you want to start your marriage? With stolen money? The next hour brought more threats, more tears, and more attempts at manipulation. Mom tried guilt. After all we sacrificed for you. Dad tried authority. As your father, I demand. Madison tried emotional blackmail. You've always been jealous of me. During the board meeting, I presented the full timeline. 3 months ago. Parents added as authorized users during my recovery. 2 months ago, first wedding charges appear. 6 weeks ago, first confrontation and request to stop. 1 month ago, escalating charges despite warnings. 2 weeks ago, final warning issued. Today, legal action initiated. The company is secure now, I concluded. All unauthorized users have been removed, new protocols are in place, and our legal position is strong. The board's support was unanimous, but Richard, our senior advisor, raised a concern. What about personal repercussions? Family dynamics can affect business leadership. I showed them my parents' latest text. We're coming to straighten this out tomorrow. Be ready. I'm ready, I assured them. Building security has their photos. They won't get past the lobby. That evening, as Maya and I worked late finalizing documentation, my email pinged with an unexpected message from James's father, a prominent corporate lawyer. Subject: regarding recent charges. Sarah, James called me about the situation. After reviewing the charges and your communications, I must advise you that your position is legally sound. I've told James and Madison they need to return home immediately and prepare to address these charges properly. I apologize for my son's role in this matter. Richard Thompson, Esquire. Maya read it over my shoulder. Well, that's unexpected support. Money talks, I said, but apparently some people still listen to reason too. My phone buzzed one final time that night, a text from Madison. The hotel's making us check out tomorrow. Mom and Dad's cards don't work either. I hope you're happy destroying your family like this. I typed my response carefully. I didn't destroy our family. I protected my company and my employees from our family's destruction. There's a difference. Then I turned off my phone, looked at Maya, and managed a small smile. Ready to face tomorrow? She nodded, already pulling up the security protocols for the inevitable confrontation. They thought they could bankrupt your company for a wedding. Wait until they meet the CEO who built it. As we prepared for the storm ahead, I thought about family, not the one that tried to destroy my business, but the one I had built. Employees who depended on me, colleagues who supported me, and principles that guided me. Tomorrow would bring chaos. But tonight, I knew I'd done the right thing. Because sometimes protecting what you've built means standing firm against those who believe love, means letting them destroy it. The next morning dawned with predictable chaos. Security called at 8:15 a.m. My parents had arrived, demanding entrance to my office. I watched on the security feed as they tried to play the "We're her parents" card, only to be politely but firmly denied access. Your daughter has explicitly restricted your access, Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell, the security guard explained. I can take a message, but you cannot proceed to the offices. Mom's face turned that particular shade of red I remembered from childhood tantrums, usually Madison's. We pay for her education. We have every right. Actually, I said, stepping out of the elevator into the lobby. Maya beside me with a folder of documents. You didn't pay for my education. My scholarships and work-study programs did. Would you like to discuss what you have paid for recently? Dad stepped forward, attempting his boardroom intimidation stance that had worked so well during his corporate days. Sarah, this ridiculous behavior stops now. Your sister is stranded. In a 5-star resort in the Maldives, I interrupted, where she checked in using stolen money. Speaking of which, I nodded to Maya, who opened her folder. We have the full transaction history here, Maya said professionally, including Mrs. Mitchell's text messages explicitly acknowledging that these were unauthorized business account charges. Mom's face went from red to white. She had forgotten about those texts. Sarah's too busy with her precious company to help with the wedding, so we'll just use the card. She can't complain about money when she has so much. Except it wasn't my money, I said quietly. It was my company's money. Money that pays salaries, funds projects, and keeps 15 families secure. Or did you forget that part while booking Madison's underwater spa treatments? We're your family. Mom's voice rose hysterically. Family comes first. Really? I pulled out my phone, showing them the banking app. Where was family first when this account dropped below the payroll threshold? Where was family first when I explained these charges could bankrupt my company? Where was family first when Madison charged another $2,000 for champagne after I begged you all to stop? Security had moved closer but maintained a respectful distance. Several employees arriving for work tried to slip past inconspicuously. What do you want? Dad finally asked, his intimidation stance deflating. Exactly what my email stated. Full repayment within 30 days, or I press charges for credit card fraud. Maya has the repayment agreement ready to sign. We don't have that kind of money, Mom protested. Then sell the lake house, I said. The one you remortgaged to pay for Madison's first failed business venture. Or maybe Madison could sell her new Tesla, the one she bought last month using my card. A new voice joined the conversation. They won't have to sell anything. James's father, Richard Thompson, strode through the lobby doors, briefcase in hand. I've already transferred the full amount to cover all unauthorized charges. The money should be in your account within the hour. My parents spun around, shocked. Dad began. Richard, you don't have to. Yes, I do, Richard cut him off. My son participated in this fraud, however unknowingly. I'm resolving it before criminal charges become necessary. He turned to me. Ms. Mitchell, I assume you'll drop the fraud report once the payment clears. I nodded. That was always the plan. This was about protecting my company, not punishment. Unlike some people here, you understand business ethics, Richard said pointedly. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to call my son about his new debt to me. I suggest everyone else here does the same. Leave before security has to remove you. Mom's last attempt at guilt came weakly. Sarah, please, Madison's honeymoon is something she should have paid for herself. I finished. Like I paid for my own life. Now I have a company to run and employees to protect. You know, the ones you nearly left without paychecks for the sake of crystal champagne flutes. As they finally left, Mom in tears, Dad in angry silence, Maya handed me a notification. The Thompson transfer had cleared. All $120,000 was back in the business account. Upstairs, my team was waiting with knowing looks and supportive smiles. They'd all heard about the situation, and many had witnessed the lobby confrontation. Boss, my lead developer approached with a grin. We just landed the Peterson contract. Seems they were impressed by how you handled the recent financial situation with transparency and decisiveness. I managed a laugh. At least something good came from this mess. My phone buzzed. Madison, James's dad made him book economy flights home. Economy. This is all your fault. I'll never forgive you. I showed the text to Maya, who rolled her eyes. Should we tell her about the trust fund kids who fly economy to my financial literacy workshops? She'll have to learn the hard way, I said. Like I did, though probably without the successful company part. Later that afternoon, an unexpected email arrived from James. Subject: Apology and next steps. Sarah, I owe you an apology. I knew something felt off about the wedding spending, but I convinced myself it wasn't my place to question it. My father made it very clear how wrong I was. Madison's still angry, but I'm going to insist we attend financial counseling before handling any joint accounts. I should have done that before the wedding. I hope someday we can repair the family relationships, but I understand if that takes time. Regards, James. Maya read it and nodded approvingly. At least one person learned something. 2, I corrected. I learned that sometimes protecting your family means protecting them from themselves, even if they hate you for it. My phone buzzed one last time, a text from Dad. Your mother's devastated. I hope you're satisfied with destroying Madison's perfect day. I typed back, I hope you're satisfied with trying to destroy everything I built. The difference is, my company survived your perfect day. Our relationship might not. Looking out over my office, my legitimate, ethical, successful office, I felt a weight lift. The company was safe. The employees were secure. And I had finally broken free from the family pattern of enabling Madison at everyone else's expense. Maya, I called out, let's take the team to dinner to celebrate landing Peterson and keeping our integrity. As we headed out, I caught my reflection in the office windows. I looked exactly like my mother had at my age, but I'd chosen a completely different path. Sometimes the best family legacy is choosing not to repeat it. 6 months after the wedding card fiasco, I sat in my expanded office, reviewing the quarter's reports. Innovate Tech Solutions had not only survived the family crisis, but thrived. Our transparent handling of the situation had attracted several major clients who valued ethical business practices. A notification popped up on my screen, an invitation to Madison's marriage celebration reception. Apparently, being forced to leave the Maldives early and fly economy had ruined her original honeymoon. So she was planning a do-over celebration. The invitation notably included the line, "No gifts necessary, but contributions to our new house fund appreciated." Subtle as ever, Maya commented, reading over my shoulder. Have you spoken to any of them since? Dad tries calling every few weeks, usually after their financial advisor reminds them they can't afford their lifestyle without my support. I replied, clicking delete on the invitation. Mom sends guilt-trip emails about family obligations. Madison blocks and unblocks me on social media depending on her mood. And James's father. I smiled. Richard Thompson had become an unexpected ally, even referring several clients our way. He's actually joining our board next month. Said he wants to support ethical business practices in the family, since his son's side clearly needs the example. My phone buzzed. A text from James. Sarah, I know you probably got the reception invitation. I tried to talk her out of it. We're in financial counseling, but, well, old habits die hard. I understand if you don't come. At least someone had grown from this experience. James had taken his father's harsh lessons to heart, gotten a real job, and insisted on separate finances from Madison until she demonstrated better money management. Ms. Mitchell, my assistant poked her head in. Your father's in the lobby again. Security wants to know if the restricted access still applies. I checked the security feed. Dad stood there in his expensive suit, looking older than he had 6 months ago. Behind him, Mom waited in their luxury car, the one they probably could no longer afford. Tell them I'll come down, I decided. Maya, want to witness whatever this is. Wouldn't miss it, she replied, grabbing her ever-present documentation folder. Dad had aged a decade in 6 months, the strain of financial reality finally hitting home. Sarah, he began as I approached, we need to talk about the family's financial situation. Your financial situation, I corrected, because mine is excellent thanks to protecting it from the family. He flinched but pressed on. Your mother and I, we had to make some changes. The lake house payments are not my problem, I finished. Just like my business accounts weren't your personal wedding fund. We're selling the lake house, he admitted, and downsizing the main house. Your mother, she's having a hard time adjusting. If you could just what, Dad? Write a check. Open another card. Enable more irresponsible spending. I kept my voice level. The answer is no. We're your parents. Yes, and I'm a CEO with responsibilities to my employees and shareholders. Funny how family obligations only seem to go one way in your world. Mom emerged from the car, her designer handbag clashing with her worried expression. Sarah, please. Madison's reception is another example of not learning anything. I cut in. She's planning another expensive party while you're selling your houses. And you're here asking me for money instead of addressing the real problem. What do you want from us? Dad demanded, frustration breaking through. Nothing, I replied simply. I want nothing from you, and I'm giving nothing to you. That's the relationship you created when you chose to abuse my trust and nearly destroyed my company for Madison's wedding. Maya stepped forward with her folder. We've prepared a list of financial advisors and credit counseling services. They can help you develop a sustainable budget based on your actual income. Mom stared at the folder like it was a snake. We don't need counseling. We need our daughter to stop being selfish. Actually, James's voice came from behind them, making everyone turn. Financial counseling helps a lot. Dad made me realize some hard truths about money and responsibility. The family's spending habits aren't Sarah's responsibility to fix. He looked different, more mature in his business casual attire than in his honeymoon resort wear. Madison doesn't know I'm here, he admitted. But someone needed to say it. Sarah was right. What we did was wrong, and asking for more money now is worse. Dad deflated completely, finally looking like a man facing reality. The lake house was supposed to be our retirement plan. No, I said firmly, it was supposed to be Madison's next business venture after the reception. I saw the plans on her social media. Exclusive lakeside wellness retreat. Another dream built on other people's money. Take the folder, James urged his in-laws. The counselor we're seeing is excellent. She helps you understand the difference between wants and needs. Mom started to protest, but Dad took the folder. Will, consider it. As they left, Mom in tears again, Dad clutching the folder. James turned to me. I cancel my contribution to the reception fund. Put it toward actual couples counseling instead. Good choice, I nodded. How's Madison taking the financial reality check? One day at a time, he sighed. Dad's tough love approach helps. He froze our access to family funds until we complete the financial responsibility program. Back in my office, Maya updated our security protocols, adding James to the approved visitor list while maintaining the restrictions on my parents and Madison. You know, she mused, 6 months ago, they thought they were punishing you by freezing you out socially. Now they're realizing you're the only one who actually has financial stability. My phone buzzed with a final text from Madison. James says you won't help with the reception. Fine. I don't need your charity. P.S. Mom and Dad are selling my childhood home because of you. I showed it to Maya, who shook her head. Still not getting it, is she? Nope, I replied, turning back to our quarterly reports. But that's not my problem anymore. My problem is managing this company's 25% growth and deciding how to invest in our employees' futures. Sometimes I realized the best family legacy is knowing when to break the chain of financial dependency. My company thrived because I protected it. My parents struggled because they never learned to. And Madison, well, she had a choice to make now. I closed the quarterly reports with a smile. The numbers didn't lie. Integrity, it turned out, was pretty good for business. 1 year after the wedding card incident, I stood in my new office on the top floor of what was now Innovate Tech Solutions Tower. Our company had quadrupled in size, with over 60 employees and a reputation for combining technical excellence with ethical business practices. The view overlooked the city park where, ironically, Madison and James were now regular visitors, not for luxury picnics, but because they downsized to a modest apartment nearby. James's father's tough love approach had finally started to bear fruit. Quarterly ethics committee meeting in 10. Maya reminded me, entering with her tablet. And you might want to see this first. She handed me a local business magazine. The headline read, From Family Crisis to Corporate Success, How Sarah Mitchell Turned Ethical Standing into Market Leadership. Below was a smaller headline, Former Luxury Resort Chain Files for Bankruptcy. Maldives location where wedding party drama unfolded closes doors. Karma's got timing, Maya smirked. My phone buzzed. A text from James. Madison finally agreed to take the financial literacy course your company offers. Better late than never. The course had been my response to the whole situation. A free program teaching basic financial responsibility offered to both our employees and the public. Madison had previously called it my charity for poor people who can't afford nice things. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Sarah, my assistant, appeared. Your father's here for his appointment. Dad had started working as a consultant for our ethics compliance team 3 months ago. After the financial counseling finally sank in, he approached me with an unusual proposal, using his experience as a cautionary tale in our corporate training programs. He entered, looking professional but humble in his business casual attire. The $1,000 suits were gone, along with the arrogance they once represented. Today's session went well, he reported. Shared the wedding card story with the new hires. One of them said it was better than any corporate ethics textbook. Turning mistakes into lessons, I nodded. How's Mom doing with the new house? Adjusting. The container gardening class keeps her busy. She's even talking about starting a small business teaching others how to grow vegetables in limited spaces. And Madison. Dad managed a small smile. James's tough love approach finally got through. She's working as an assistant wedding planner, learning the business from the ground up instead of trying to launch her own company with borrowed money. My phone lit up with a notification Mom had posted on social media for the first time in months. Instead of her usual designer lifestyle photos, it was a picture of her small patio garden with the caption, "Growing something real instead of maintaining appearances." Progress, Maya commented. The ethics committee meeting that followed included a special presentation. Our new financial literacy program was being adopted by 3 major corporations for their employee training. From crisis to curriculum, Richard Thompson noted from his board seat. Not bad for a year's work. Later that evening, as I prepared to leave the office, James stopped by with an unexpected update. Madison wanted me to give you this, he said, handing me an envelope. Inside was a check for $5,000 and a note. My share of the wedding charges. It's not much, but it's what I've saved from my salary. I'm sorry, Mads. She's been working overtime to save it, James explained. No shopping, no luxuries. She said she needed to understand the value of earned money. I looked at the check thoughtfully, then made a decision. Opening my laptop, I transferred $5,000 to our company's education fund. Tell her the money will fund 5 scholarships for the financial literacy program, I told James. Sometimes the best way to make amends is to help others avoid your mistakes. As the sun set over the city, I thought about the year's journey. My company had grown stronger not despite the crisis, but because of how we handled it. My family had learned hard but necessary lessons about money and responsibility. And somewhere in a city park below, my sister was probably planning someone else's wedding, finally understanding the difference between price and value. Maya appeared in my doorway. Next quarter's projections are in. We're expanding the education program to include high schools. I smiled. Teaching the next generation to do better. Something like that, she agreed. Sometimes the best revenge is making sure others don't make the same mistakes. Looking out over the city where our story had unfolded, I realized that success isn't just about protecting what you build. It's about building something worth protecting.